Hello Internet, I'm Jackie Fox, and today we're going to be talking about the situation on the ground in Ukraine. Now, I've referenced it before in this video, but today we're going to be taking a week-by-week look at the first 4 weeks-ish of this invasion. The long and short of what I'm saying here is that Vladimir Putin is not only doing a horrible thing that the Russian people are actually beginning to notice, and also a number of oligarchs at this point, but that it is also an ill-advised thing to do based on terrain, military strategy, and other factors.
Будемо займатися зачисткою одного із сіл, в якому зараз знаходяться орки з броньованою технікою. По даним розвідки, до батальйону.
They were moving properly the way that you move to an ambush site. They seem to be well disciplined. They seem to be in the correct formations as they move forward. They obviously got hit by probably a guard unit that was protecting the tanks, and that's where you could hear the fire coming in from the Russian side. They were talking to their higher headquarters on either their cell phones or their radios. The higher headquarters probably told them to withdraw. Withdrawing under fire is a very difficult task, but they seemed to do it quite well. This unit was obviously well trained. They did it exactly by the book.
Now that I've given you all of the concepts, now that you can fully understand the situation, I finally wanted to show you a bit of the take that I actually wanted to make. Ukraine has been a country for less than 100 years, and in the life cycle of a nation, is still taking their first steps into independence. Only in 1991, 31 years ago, taking the first steps into true independence. 31 years of fire in the Ukrainian soul over the last century. The history of Ukraine has been an aggressive fight against Russian soft power and civil servants given orders by the president to shoot on sight. They fought long and hard time and again for their independence, and every time that they've gotten it, they ask for more and more. They get a name, statehood, then they become an independent country that's still controlled by Russia's sphere of influence and soft power. It was once a nation held by oligarchy and corruption, and then decades following their independence, they fight back against even that. They fight back against the idea of their future should be tied so closely to Russia, when Russia seems to have no interest in seeing them thriving and independent. And the last 8 years, militias have fought along the front lines in Ukraine. Civilian territories have suffered intermittent shelling and ceasefire pretty much since the nation began, but it is not stopping them. I look forward to the future with the brightest hope of what Ukraine might become in 10, 20, or even 30 years. I am already so proud of what they are. Proud of the zeal by which they defend the independence that they have fought for the last 31 years. And I am inspired by the way that even the citizens of Ukraine will not let those 30 years be in vain now. And I have been blessed to be able to share with you this beautiful story and the beautiful future that I dream of. It may not happen, but I think that if there is any hero that can summon the strength it takes to mount obstacles that first seem insurmountable, to defend itself against Russia and somehow come out of it stronger and more united with its surrounding countries and with its own citizens than it ever was before. I think, perhaps, Ukraine might be that nation. They hope, I hope, that years of invasion and fighting for independence doesn't sour them and their culture in the way that we saw in Afghanistan. Because I have seen a change in Ukraine even in my lifetime. If you want an inspiring story, I inspire you to watch either of my videos on Euromaidan. It was in writing and researching the first of those videos that I first felt that I could relate to them. You know, having a huge protest movement for the independence of my country, having just come out of Occupy years before, and we were never shot out in the streets. I mean, for the most part, Occupy wasn't even treated as brutally by the police as something like Black Lives Matter has been, as many modern protests have been. Like, I've watched protests get more brutal over my lifetime, and still, I can't imagine what Ukrainians face towards the end of Euromaidan, and if that was happening here, I can't imagine the bravery I would have to summon to stand up to those police who have told that it is perfectly acceptable to murder us. Even if you would say within Black Lives Matter that this is kind of implied in policing, especially if you happen to have a certain skin color that doesn't look quite like this, even today, I can see where you're coming from there. But it's not like your president was literally saying to the police, I don't care if you have to kill them, get them out of Maidan Square. I can't imagine that scenario. And again, the courage shown by Ukrainians who continue to fight for their rights in that moment, that is astounding. And it's the same type of courage that they will need to retain their independence and their goodwill on their part. I hope that Ukraine can forgive us for not setting up no-fly zones and not putting boots on the ground. I'm sure that we would all feel differently if this was our country and not one that maybe some of us are just now really hearing about. And a big part of the reason that we don't, our own self-interest, we don't want to jump in this fight because we might get hurt. No one wants to poke the nuclear bear. But again, I'm sure we would all feel differently if this was our country. So to Ukraine, I know that you have the spirit. I know that you have the courage. I know that it means enough to you that you will put your heart into defending your country, and I wish you the best. I hope that our countries can find more and more ways to support you. And I hope that we find more and more diplomatic ways to support you. I hope that this can end soon without you having to concede your territory. I'm hoping that these things that we're doing to apply pressure, that Ukraine needs to stay safe and come to a victory in this conflict. And I'd like to end this series with 3 important words. Glory to Ukraine.